Good evening to all our viewers. Before we begin our show today, I want to make sure that we discuss an issue that New Paradigms has faced with social media. We have had a number of our shows that have been broadcast on the Facebook platform shadow banned. We have provided the documentations that are needed for Facebook that the items that we use on our show have been purchased by us and are our specific purchases. With that said, we hope that, as they have done in the past, that they lift those shadow bans and that we will not have any more problems going forward. With that said, again, good evening. Today is September 14, 2020, and this is the 16th episode of New Paradigms. I'm your host, Sargis Sangari, the Republican nominee for U.S. Congress and the 9th Congressional District of Illinois. My guest today is Dan Patlak. Dan was sworn in to a 2-year term as a commissioner of the Cook County Board of Review on December 6, 2010. Dan's defeat of the incumbent commissioner was the first time a Republican defeated a sitting Cook County level Democrat in 15 years. He has been reelected in 2012 and 2016 and is currently running in this year's elections. After graduating from Valparaiso University with a bachelor's degree in business administration, Dan began his professional career as a real estate broker in the near North Shore suburbs of Chicago from '86 until 1995. Dan is a graduate of the Real Estate Institute's GRI and has been a member of the National and Illinois Realtors Association for more than 34 years. As a volunteer coordinator for Citizens Against Government Waste, from 1992 to 1994, Dan organized Taxpayers Action Day rallies in successive years at the Klunsky Federal Building and also at the Daily Plaza to draw attention to the wasteful government spending. He also testified before the Cook County Board in 1992 in opposition to the original 75-cent county sales tax. Mr. Patlak was employed at the Cook County Board of Review from January 1999 to December 2006. He has served as a property assessment appeal analyst for Commissioner Maureen Murphy, specializing in residential, commercial, apartment, and exempt properties. In addition, Dan also represented the Board of Review at over 500 Illinois Property Tax Appeals Board, or PTAP, oral hearings, when Maureen Murphy's office conducted over 300 property assessment appeal seminars during her 8 years in office. Mr. Patlak also served as her surrogate, speaking at more than 60 of those seminars. Patlak also served as Murphy's public information officer, helping to write the board's annual reports. After completing advanced courses in property appraisal required to be a certified Illinois assessing officer, Dan was elected assessor of the Wheeling Township in 2005 and re-elected in 2009. He is a member of the International Association of Assessing Officers. Dan also was an elected board member of the East Main School District 63 in the mid-90s. He is a parishioner and a lecturer at the St. Joseph the Worker Church and a 4th degree Knight of Columbus. Dan resides in the village of Wheeling with his wife and his son. Dan, it's a pleasure to have you here. Impressive resume.
Sargis, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I want to apologize. I wasn't able to make it to the grand opening of your new headquarters in Chicago on Sheridan Avenue yesterday, but I heard that you had a great turnout, a lot of people there, and a lot of people who want to volunteer to help you win your spot in Congress in the 9th Congressional District.
No, thank you very much, Dan. No apologies. Everybody is busy today, and I know that you have a hectic schedule on your side. Sometimes the times just don't coordinate together. But our new office is open on North Sheridan. I want to thank everybody who showed up and who came and who donated and volunteered to be on our team. We have volunteers coming in as early as tomorrow to start working on what we need to do as far as getting the vote out. And a special thanks, I'm going to say, to the Assyrians Around the World TV program that covered our opening, and that specific program is going to be covered on Sunday on the various different cable news channels. I should say not news channels, but cable channels. As always, I wanted to initially start looking at this particular race. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Dan, as far as your particular job is concerned. For those who do not know how important this for you to be in your position.
Well, I am one of three commissioners that run the Cook County Board of Review. And the Board of Review is the Cook County office that reviews property assessment appeals. So, Sargis, if you or someone you know owns a house or some commercial property, whatever it might be, and you think the assessment is higher than it should be, you can file an appeal at my office. You can present evidence if you want to. You can even come in for an in-person hearing or do a hearing on the phone. And if we agree that your assessment is too high, we can reduce the assessment, and as a result, your tax bill will be lower. My district is the vast majority of suburban Cook County, with a few exceptions. I do have a couple of small portions of Chicago, about half of the 41st Ward in Chicago, that's in the northwest section. I also have about half of the 19th Ward, which is down in the area of Beverly, butting up against Evergreen Park.
I do know that you have also received endorsement for the alderman in the 41st Ward. Congratulations. And I know that just like everybody else, we have done endorsement sessions. Is there any other endorsement that you have received, Dan, for the, or are we still waiting on those endorsements to come up probably at the end of the month or first part of October?
Well, the newspaper endorsements have yet to come from my office. I am endorsed by the Illinois Committee for Honest Government. I'm also endorsed by Tax Accountability, and I'm proud of those as well. And Nick Spizzato from the 38th Ward and Anthony Napolitano from the 41st Ward, two really great public servants, both former firemen, and I'm very proud to have their backing for this race.
Dan, I know that you're very much involved with our firefighters, first responders, and the police. We were Saturday at a gathering that was established by the Northwest GOP with the law and order candidate slate. I was there and I was able to hear you speak. Give us a bit of your insight as to what is the approach? Why is this so important for us, especially in our local neighborhoods?
Well, we've got, I think, an emergency situation going on where criminals feel free to riot, rob, commit arson, vandalize public and private property. And we need public servants who will insist on that kind of activity first being stopped, giving backing to the police so that they can actually intercede when a crime is being committed. And then for those that do commit those crimes, they should be arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And that law and order slate that attended the event that you're talking about, I think would be, getting them elected would be a first step in achieving the goal of improving safety in the Chicagoland area.
No, I agree with you, and it is not just in Chicagoland area. When we're looking at the new Gallup poll that came out across the spectrum, has nothing to do with your party that you're representing. The fear of these violence coming to your city and your homes is very much in the minds and thoughts of the individuals across the spectrum. When you're looking at almost 48% of liberal Democrats fearing that this violence will come to their neighborhoods, and you have almost 54% of the conservative Republicans worrying that it will come to their neighborhood. We have something here in common, and I think that it is very important that we need to restore domestic tranquility to our streets if we are going to be able to be successful in the long run in anything we do. Dan, I know that we have the layout of what your district looks like. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell us what would happen if Dan Patlak does not get elected tomorrow, or I should say, in November 3rd, to the office. What would happen in Illinois? What would happen with our taxes, and how would the whole basically the lay of the land shift?
Well, Sargis, you started off the show by reading my resume. And for someone who is running for my position, it's really virtually a perfect resume. I spent a lifetime preparing for the position that I'm currently in and that I'm currently running for re-election. And I think it's very important to taxpayers to know that the people that are in their public office have some level of expertise in whatever that office does. And based on my background and experience, I have a high level of expertise, and I think that that's what taxpayers are looking for. But in addition, we really need to look at Cook County government as a whole. There are 28 elected positions in a Cook County government. That's if you don't include the 9 positions at the Water Reclamation District, where all 9 of those are controlled by Democrats. Within Cook County, though, out of those 28 elected positions, 25 are elected Democrats, only 3 are elected Republicans. 2 of those elected Republicans, Peter Silvestri and Sean Morrison, are members of the county board. They're 2 of 17. And then there's me in an administrative office that has 3 members, and the other 2 members are Democrats. So I serve as a check and balance to complete Democrat control of the property tax system. And you never want to have one party in control. I'm not ripping on any elected official, but the temptation to bend the rules to help out your friends can be too great when you know that the only people that are working beside you are people in your own party. So it's good that we have a mix of people at the Board of Review so we can all keep an eye on each other.
No, look, I agree, and this country is based on a two-party rule, and one party is a dictatorship. That's as simple as it is. And I've been an advocate. I've had friends of mine who are been in the military in the past. They lean a little bit Democrat, more left, moderate, and I tell them, you know what, you should run, because I would like to have an individual like you across the board. I know that you come from a position where you have proven your worth on the battlefield, and you have shown that you come to the table with integrity and honesty, and that it gives us an opportunity to work together for the betterment of the nation. Dan, how's the race going overall? What are you seeing right now? What are the people telling you in your district?
Well, I think my race is going well. It's hard to tell because it is still early, but in terms of our activities with my campaign, we put out signs about a week and a half ago, and we have a lot of them out. I'm sure many of your viewers will have seen some, particularly the large 4x4 signs, which I have all over the district, which you can see over my shoulder. That area in red and pink on that map, that's my district. So I stretch all the way from northwest Cook County all the way to the border of Indiana, and we have signs everywhere in between. We have digital ads playing, we have ads playing on Facebook, and we have more planned. I'm not going to talk about it now, but people will definitely have a chance to hear our message. With that said, it will absolutely be a competitive race. The district that I'm in is not a Republican district, so I need to convince swing voters and Democrat voters that I am, in fact, the best qualified candidate, that the decisions I and my analysts make are made based on the evidence that's presented and no other factors in, and that we do a good and fair job for all taxpayers regardless of party.
Dan, I might be biased on this, but I think you're the best candidate, and I hope that people go out there and vote for you. I know that it might be looking a little bit ahead of the game, but is the census, the 2020 redistricting that will take place at the congressional level, does that affect you at all, or do you stay the same?
It affects me. The Board of Review commissioners get our district gets recut, just like everybody else's district. So after this election, hopefully I will win. The term will be a 2-year term, and the district will be redrawn to reflect the new census numbers. And of course, at this time, we have no idea what that new district will look like. But hopefully it will reflect a similar type of voter as we have right now.
Dan, let's hope we got to get you in first. With that said, I know that vote by mail has gone out and people have requested their ballots. I do get updates on a daily basis, if not weekly basis on it. Tell us a little bit about the vote by mail, Dan. What is it looking like? What are some of the things that you need to be looking for? What is the process? What are some of the concerns that maybe could be alleviated for some of the individual viewers that are hesitant to maybe go through that process, even if they want to?
Well, I know a lot of people are concerned about exactly how vote by mail and early voting will work. So for those that don't know, applications for mail-in ballots, that is the request for a mail-in ballot, they have been sent out in Cook County by the county clerk, and I believe by other county clerks throughout Illinois, to everyone who voted either in the general election 2018, the municipal election of 2019, or the primary of 2020. So if you voted in any of those 3 elections, you should have received a absentee or a mail-in ballot application several weeks ago. The applications are very simple. All you really need to do is sign it, date it. There's a box to check off to confirm that you're still at the address that is on the absentee ballot application. If you're not still at that address, there is a place for you to fill in what your new address is what your new address is, and then it's already postage paid, so you can just drop it in the mailbox. Then in Cook County, the Cook County clerk has announced that they will mail out vote by mail ballots, at least their first batch, on September 24th. I don't believe that they'll be mailing out they will be mailing to every person who turned in an application. There will be some cutoff date. I'm not sure what it is, if it'll be September 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and then up to that date, whatever applications they received, they will mail on the 24th. And then they will continue mailing each day as they prepare the mail-in ballots to be mailed to the potential voters. Once you get that mail-in ballot, you can vote right away if you want to, and you can put it in the mail and mail it back to the county clerk, or you can hold it all the way until Election Day if you want to, and mail it in Election Day. My understanding is the state legislature extended the date within which the county clerks can accept mailed-in ballots. So in other words, some people will mail in their mail-in ballot the day before or the day of the election. It will not arrive on Election Day, but it may arrive several days later. If it arrives up to 14 days later, then it will still be counted. My understanding is that, though, it must be postmarked by Election Day. Now, even if you receive this mail-in ballot, if you decide for whatever reason that you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Then you have 2 other options. You can vote in person early, and early in-person voting will begin on October 19th. There will be at least 1, and in many cases 2 early voting locations in every township in Cook County. And you can look up those locations by going to the Cook County Clerk's website. And the hours will be extensive. I don't know exactly what they'll be, but I believe that they'll be open very early in the morning, and they will probably not close until something like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. I understand they'll also be open on weekdays. So you can vote early up until the day before the election, and then of course Election Day is November 3rd, and if you want to vote then, polls will be open from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m., and you can choose to vote then if you'd like to.
No, you're correct. As we have said to our listeners, that if you want to go in and vote in person, go in and vote in person. Make sure you get there in early voting. As you had said, October 19th, and voting in person begins. There's a super site that will open up earlier than that. That super site is one single location that individuals can go to vote prior to the 19 October 20th timeline when the early voting locations open up in your specific townships. With that said, again, as Dan mentioned, keep in mind the paper that you have received, which is a kind of a single flapped paper, is nothing more than an application. That is not the actual ballot. You would have to sign that, send that in to receive a ballot. And not everyone will have received the documentation. There were, as you see on the slide, specific requirements of who would have received it. With that said, everything has a timeline to it. Now, the important piece of this is, as Dan was discussing, that if you send in your ballot postmarked on the day of election, and it may take up to 14 days for it to get to the location it was sent to. Still, that ballot would count, but it has to be postmarked on the day of election at the latest. So it's possible that a candidate may have one, thinking that they have one on November 3rd, but possibly with all the ballots that might be coming in through the mail, they end up losing 14 days later. Is that the right thing to say, Dan, or is there corrections that need to be made in that statement?
No, I think that's right, and I believe that super early voting location you're talking about is at the Cook County Clerk's office, their division that does elections, and that is the 5th floor of 69 West Washington, downtown Chicago.
Correct. It is. Correct.
Sargis, can I just like to mention?
Go ahead.
Just want to mention one other thing. On the ballot this year is a very important referendum question, and it's whether or not we want to change the Illinois Constitution and allow what they call, I guess, progressive taxation, where the tax rate for different people will depend on their income. Right now, everyone is paying just about the same rate, right around 4.95 or 5%. The referendum will give the state legislature an opportunity to change that, and tax people in different income brackets at different rates. The downside to that is they can do what they're initially planning to do and what they're advertising. Tax people that have comparatively large incomes, like $250,000, and raise their rate to 7.5% or more. That's only a small percentage of the population in Illinois. So basically what you're doing is pitting one group against the other and getting the group that makes less money to vote to tax the group that makes more money at a higher rate. And a lot of people are fine with that. The problem is that that plan does not get the state government the kind of money that the Democrats want and need to pay their bills and to expand their programs. So I believe that if that referendum is passed, we can count on the Democrats in a year or two changing that income threshold. So we don't know what it might be, but maybe it goes from $225,000 to a household income of $125,000. Now you suddenly have hundreds of thousands, maybe millions more Illinois citizens having to pay at that higher tax rate. That's what you're giving the Democrats permission to do if you vote yes on that referendum. So I would recommend a no vote.
No, look, I recommend a no vote too, and we've been saying that to our listeners, because there's no way that a state government expanding the ability to be able to collect taxes is going to actually turn around and do the right thing. Remember, we were supposed to have initially set up toll booths in order to pay for our interstates, and by '77 we were supposed to have no more toll booths. So much for that. I'm still paying for toll booths every time I go through the process. So we brought in gambling. We said that's gonna. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you were saying it. The lottery is supposed to pay for our schools.
Yeah.
It's not even segregated. It's not even segregated. It goes into the general fund. It's used for whatever the state legislature wants it to be used for, even though they got people to agree to have it because they said it'll pay for the schools.
Well, look, whether it be the lottery, whether it be the gambling, whether it be the recreational use of drugs, what else are you going to bring tomorrow? So it's the problem is politicians do not know how to basically curtail their spending, and Illinois is not going to be able to pay for the deficit it has created for itself. Dan, with that said, I do want to kind of talk about if people, first of all, have you received any support money from Illinois GOP for your campaign?
Sargis, I have not. Fortunately, though, I've done a good job raising money, and I have been able to raise a substantial amount, which you need because my district has 1.7 million residents. I expect over 700,000 people to cast a vote. And just to give everyone an idea of how big of a district that is, that's by population, that's the size of about 2.5 congressional districts here in Illinois. So it's big.
Yeah, look, you definitely have more numbers of personnel in your district or constituents than I have in mine. So, and yours does overlap mine. So, when individuals are going in the 9th congressional district to vote for me, and they see Dan's name there, you need to vote for Dan. If people want to help you, Dan, where do they have to go to support you as far as donations are concerned, or even volunteers?
Well, I have a campaign website. It is electpatlak.com, and if you go there and you click on contribute, there'll be instructions where you can mail a check if you'd like to, or you can make an online donation using your credit card, and it's very simple. All you have to do is follow the directions for that. I think displaying on everyone's screen now is a symbol that you can put your phone up to, and that your phone will take you right to that Elect Patlak page where you can make a donation if you'd like to. I just want
Correct.
to
So
mention
if
one
you
other
have
thing,
your,
Sargis? Is that okay?
go ahead.
If you go to my website, electpatlak.com, one other thing I think I'm a big fan of is signs. You heard me mention them earlier. You can always use more sign locations because sign locations are an indication, especially if they're in someone's yard, that's a personal endorsement from someone. So if you would be willing to personally endorse me, please go to that website, and on the home page there will be a button to press to request a sign. You'll be asked for your name and your address, and then we will have a volunteer go out and put up a sign in your yard.
No, it's and I know that there's certain areas of my district I've seen your sign. Actually, on Sunday we had some of your signs here that individuals that live in my district and also are able to vote for you did pick up those signs. So they can also come to my address at our Sheridan Road address and pick up those signs for you. The specific importance of those QRs is that as long as you point your phone to it, it will take you to the site and you could donate directly. So it makes life easier. As you noticed, running an election is not easy. We need all the money and support possible. These signs run anywhere between, depending on the size, between $5 to $20. So as long as we could replace those signs, and as you said, they're a direct endorsement of you. We have already ordered our second batch of 1,000, so we're looking at almost 2,000 signs for both Sangari going out. I know that you had mentioned early voting. Dan, I do have a slide here that we have put together as far as what voters can do to help us, and I think that it applies across the board. Look, we cannot just go through this process by doing it on our own. We do put our own skin in the game, but we do need individuals to volunteer to be election judges, which is very important to ensure that there's a security and balance, or check and balances to what is happening with our votes that are going in. We do need volunteers to make phone calls. We do need volunteers to go door to door. It is very important for us to have election judges for election days specifically, and there's websites that you could go to. And as long as you have gone through the training, and there's a cutoff line for that too, and you provide us your information, we could give that to our committeemen in our district, and they could request you to be at certain locations to help us out. Dan, with that said, Is there anything we're missing as far as our discussion? Is there anything that I skipped over for you?
No, nothing at all.
Okay. Dan, as I would say, a couple of things from my end. I'm scheduled to be in Arizona on the 25th. We have a Search for Trump, which is a very important organization for us. And on the 25th of August, I will be there to speak on stage. We'll see how that rally goes. From there, again, for the Assyrians out there, I would ask you to go in and please register. It is very important for my community, those who support Donald Trump in my community, to go there and put their name specifically on this particular site so that we can have the numbers of volunteers. It's very simple and easy to do. And hopefully, I can see everybody on Friday, September 25th in Arizona. Also, if you want to donate to my campaign, please go to www.votesangari.com, www.votesangari.com, and provide us the support possible. Dan, it was a pleasure to have you here.
Sargis,
And
I want to can I
yes,
just interrupt you for a moment? I
go ahead,
know
Dan.
that this is a special day for you, sort of a somber day, but a happy day too, because it's the anniversary of the 2-year anniversary of the death of your father. And I know that you had a very, very close relationship with him, and he was always there for you. So, I just want to, I didn't know your dad, but I want to salute him. He was your dad, and he was the man in your life for many, many, many years.
Dan, he was, and God bless him. He sacrificed everything after the Iranian Revolution to bring us here. He left really money on the table and land and property and brought his family here, ensured that all of us were able to get through college. When you're a physics professor in Iran in one of the top universities, and even at that time, he was requested to go to University of Tehran to teach, and University of Tehran was in the top 10 of universities that people could have gone to. He came here and worked on the south side, making candles at a candle stitch factory, and even serving as a security guard to make sure that his children had an opportunity to go to school. And I know that it was very important for him for us to become part of the fabric of our communities and fabric of what becomes a tapestry of America. The last piece that he had on him, which was a lapel pin, was a lapel pin of the Assyrian and American flag, and he wanted to make sure that I passed that on to my oldest son. And that was the last thing I took off of my dad before we closed the casket for the last time, saying our goodbyes. And my son, my oldest son, does carry it. And I tell him, understand that this is the only country in the world that we live in, that you have an opportunity to come to this country. You can't speak a word of English, which I couldn't. And you have an opportunity to grow, to become successful, to educate yourself. And in my particular position, to serve in the U.S. military for 20 plus years in the infantry and special operational forces, where this country gave me the best it had and said, please take our young men and women to war and bring them back alive. And in less than 50 some days, I have an opportunity to be a representative in the United States Congress. And this country has never said that you have to give up who you were to be part of this fabric. As I indicated, even for a certain for Trump, you could be who you are, but you could also be a very productive, viable member of our nation and be somebody that upholds the values that this country was established on. And with that said, thank you, Dan, for honoring my dad by bringing his name up. It is in memory, and I hope that I could do the best I can to make him proud. And I tell my children, you have to do the same. He set up strong roots in this nation, and they need to be the future for us going forward. Dan, with
Well,
that said, I'm going to
Sargis,
give you the final word.
sure. I know from meeting so many people over the course of my 58-year life that those who have immigrated here from other countries around the world, but especially from countries where the leadership is despotic. They appreciate what this country is more than anybody because they know what other places are like. They can compare, and they know that the United States is the best. And they, like you, often become the greatest patriots that we have. And I want to thank you for your service in the military. And I want to say that I absolutely support you in your effort to become a congressman in the 9th Congressional District. And I respect everything that you're doing. I know you're campaigning as hard as you can, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Dan, and God's blessing to you and your family. And please keep up the good work. To my viewers, you need to vote for Dan. We got to get him in. If you do not get him in, it's going to really affect the assessment of your property values. So please do your best. Ensure you know who he is. Share this program with others, and let's vote for Dan. And God and blessings. I hope we see you in Victory Circle on 3 November. With that said, this is New Paradigms.
The founders of this nation did not create a land of opportunity by growing government. They did it by reducing its powers, particularly when the government of the King of England did not provide them with representation. The U in the United States originally was not capitalized, but the S in states was, meaning that the states were like semi-sovereign nations. Governance was more local and solutions were often more interpersonal rather than political. We have moved into an age where politicians act like agents of a larger special interest rather than representatives of the people, and as a result, liberty has been compromised. With your help, Lieutenant Colonel Sangari can fight this corruption and end this Middle Eastern non-democratic mentality of keeping an official in his or her seat for life, or replacing them by their own hand, pick subservient, and finally start focusing on collective American effort on actually representing the needs of all the constituents in the 9th Congressional District, including Democratic and Independent Americans, for our benefit, and not to advance the position of a single political party or person in our America again, advocating for honoring and empowering the American dream for all. Vote Sangari, honoring and empowering the American dream.
I am Sargis Sangari, and I approve this message.